Hi guys, JP from FSiPanel. On this quick tutorial I will show you how you can fly quick approaches using FSiPanel 2020 and the beautiful FlybyWire A380. On this aircraft we need to do a couple of steps manually as we cannot access all features on the MCDU, but I will show you it's very straightforward. And to start you need to load your aircraft on the runway where you want to practice, at least at the airport where you want to land. I'm right now in Geneva. I'm sitting on runway 04, but I will try a short approach on runway 22. Before I forget, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys. Okay, let's jump in the cockpit and see what we have to do. Okay, here we are in the cockpit of our A380, just loaded on the runway. As you see, I haven't changed anything in the setup. And what you need to do, it's always nice to do, is to set your training weight. So for that, we can use the EFB and we can go to the fuel and payload. If you're happy with the payload, leave it as it is. If you want to change your weight, go ahead and update your passenger, cargo and zero fuel weight. For the fuel, I'm going to reduce a little bit the fuel as we are going for some training. So let's take around 20 tons of fuel. All right, so right now my aircraft is loaded. We can see that we have a gross weight of 364 tons right now, which is below our maximum landing weight. So that's fine. And another thing you need to do on the Airbus A380 that's very important, and that has to be done before every approach with FSiPanel, is to init the MCDU. Just two things to do. Click on init and put Geneva or whatever you're flying from and destination to the same. So we are today in Geneva, so I'm just going to put Geneva and as well Geneva as destination. That's the only thing you have to do, and remember to do it again after your first landing to practice your second approach. So that's done. Now we are ready to go. So I haven't set anything. I have probably the wrong altimeter setting for sure, and we are going to start FSiPanel and see what we can do and how fast it can be done. So let's start FSiPanel. All right, here we go in FSiPanel. A few seconds after it starts, you should see the aircraft detected. So it's FlybyWire A380. That's what we want. We're on Geneva runway 04, but we would like to practice on runway 22. So I changed the runway to runway 22, and we will try a short final. So basically, this position is clearly to try and to fly landings and repeat landings. So you're not gonna make a perfect MCDU setup with that, but we just wanna be quickly on ground and practice landing. So I selected short final. We can see that we should be positioned for the ILS runway 22 at 4 nautical miles, and our altitude should be 2,400 feet. All right, so I have a Trustmaster TCA captain for the Airbus. If you have any other kind of hardware, make sure you follow FSiPanel order to select the correct flap setting as well on your hardware. Otherwise, you might have flaps retracting as soon as FSiPanel brings the aircraft in the air, which is not very nice. Okay, so let's see what happens when we click on Move Aircraft. So we are in the cockpit, and now you can see the flaps are moving to full, and FSiPanel tells you to preparing your aircraft and make sure your hardware flap lever is set to full. So I'm going to do that now on my Trustmaster. And now FSiPanel is just waiting for the flaps to be extended. After that, we're gonna get the next instruction: set your thrust lever to climb detent. Okay, so we just basically need to set our thrust lever to climb detent, and now the aircraft will start accelerating, but we're in position 3. So you can see on your speed window here, speed tape, speed increasing. That's completely normal. The aircraft might move slightly left or right, and at 130 knots FSiPanel will take over and bring the aircraft in the air. So let's see what happened now. We are reaching 130 knots. Here we go. And now FSiPanel will take care of the FCU and the automation. You can see that now in real time. We can see flight director, autopilot, auto throttle, vertical speed, heading, auto brake has been set, and FSiPanel is bringing the aircraft down to the target altitude 2,400. So right now you should just wait and see. Do not touch anything. FSiPanel will give you the control as soon as the aircraft reach 2,400. We have all star, and at 2,400, once the aircraft is stable for 2 or 3 seconds, the message will appear on top of your screen here that everything is ready. So let's see that happening now. We are reaching 2,400. Everything seems to be stable. Then if we look on the left top of your screen, we have aircraft ready, insert approach in MCDU, and switch the beacon light off to take control. All right, so what are we doing right now? If we look outside, our aircraft is basically in a landing configuration. As you can see, gear down, flaps full, on short final in Geneva, 2,400 feet, but in position freeze. So we can go back in our cockpit, and now we have to do a couple of steps if we want to fly an ILS approach. And this is very straightforward, and it's required in order to have the ILS displayed. So easy to do. As we enter destination there, we can simply go into flight plan, then select destination Geneva, select the runway, so we are on runway 22, select the approach we want to fly, so we are doing an ILS 22, and click on temporary and insert. Now if we look on the map display, we can see that the runway is in front of us. So if we click on the LS button on captain and first officer's side, we can see now that we are established on localizer. We are perfectly centered, and we have the glide slope, which is about 2 dots above us. So all good. Next thing you want to do, you can see we are flying 129 knots. FSiPanel has selected that speed based on the aircraft weight. What you can do, and it's a nice practice to do, is to fly in manage mode for the speed. So in order to do that, you can click on performance, go approach, and there, if you are flying from vectors, star position, or downwind, you could enter all the information that you want here for the approach, like minimums and everything. Here I just want to practice landing, so I will not bother about that. I have here my approach speed, which will be 130 knots. So what I can do right now, activate the approach, confirm, and we have 132 as approach speed. So if I go now to manage, then the aircraft is going to fly the correct approach speed. So that's done. Another thing you want to consider is your flight plan. As you can see, we have waypoints which are behind us, and should we have to go around for some reason, then we will not be able to fly LNAV, a nav go around where it's easy to see what the aircraft is doing and just to follow the correct track path. So here what we need to do is to update our MCDU or routing with the next waypoint in front of us. So if we look here, the next one is the runway. So we are just going to insert a direct to the runway. That waypoint, put it here, and to not activate yet, you can see on the screen we have here a small circuit that has been drawn by the aircraft, and this is because we are in position freeze. So it's ready, and I'm not going to activate it before I have control. So if we have a look at what FSiPanel has done, we have the lights set correctly, we have the brake 2, we have the speed brake arm, flaps full, so basically we are in a very good condition now to do the landing. So I'm going to take control. Then what I need to do, activate that, so we have the go around in case we go around, and arm the approach, as simple as that. So we need to switch the beacon light off, and we don't need to switch it back on. FSiPanel will do it for you. So switch the beacon light off. Now we're gonna have the control. I can simply activate this, and now I can arm my approach, put the second autopilot, and you can see we have lock star, cat 3 draw, glide slope is alive, and we have landing memo no blue. So everything is done, we can practice our landing. Glide slope will become captured just now. I'm going to set my missed approach altitude, 7,000 feet, and as easy as that, we are flying our first approach. Once we land, I will show you how you can repeat the exact same approach without going back to FSiPanel. That's an option, so you have to bring the flow menu with one of your keyboard combination or one of your joystick controller. It's completely up to you what you've set in FSiPanel, and that will allow you to repeat landings over landings without going back in the interface. All right, so we are going to disconnect the automation at around 500 feet and complete the landing there. Okay, autopilot off. Cat 3 single.
400.
Land. We're aiming to cross the threshold at 50 feet. Going slightly low here, but I'm on the PAPI, so I will continue like this.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Okay, speed brake, reverses green. Brake 2, and we are going to stop here on the runway. So manual braking.
Auto brake off.
70 knots, idle reverse, and I'm just going to stop on the runway. We did our first landing, great. So let's set the parking brake and let's see what happened in FSiPanel. So here we go. So we can have here a quick summary of the landing distance, rate of descent, some informations at, for example, what speed we flew at 1,000 feet, 500 feet, and over the threshold. That is to measure it if we are stable or not. As you know, you should have quite the same speed at 1,000 feet that over the threshold, otherwise we are probably too fast. And 50 feet is ideal, so this is why it's green. We were exactly at the right altitude at 3 feet, plus or minus 3 feet. Let's click on full landing report. There you'll be able to see your landing report, localizer deviation, glide slope deviation, autopilot disconnect at 480 feet, flaps full. We had auto brake 2. And you can see the maximum log deviation, maximum glide slope deviation. You get a lot of information there about your aircraft, wind, weather, and some grading where you have to train. So if you do something out of limit, you're gonna get something in amber or even red telling you where to train. If you wanna save that landing report, just click right there, and now it's gonna be available in FSiPanel for you to print it or to review it. Good. So let's go back into the plane. I'm not going to do anything right there. I'll just go back in the plane. And now let's say I would like to repeat the exact same approach. So always remember, and this is very important, otherwise you will not be able to set your ILS, in it, and just select Geneva and Geneva. Enter. Done. Now I'm going to use my keyboard combination to bring the flow menu. And you can see the flow menu, and what I'm interested at is the repeat same training. So I'm going to click on repeat same training. And now FSiPanel will tell me that it's preparing the approach. Flaps full. I still have flaps full. I have just landed. And it's telling me to set the thrust lever to climb detent. Okay, let's go ahead. Climb detent. And as before, the aircraft will start to accelerate in position freeze, and at 130 knots we will go in the air again. So let's see that happening now. 100 knots, we need 130. During that phase, do not touch anything, just watch the show. Here we go, we are in the air. Now FSiPanel is taking care of trimming the aircraft, setting the automation, putting the autopilot on. Here we go. You can see now that we are in yaw damper, autopilot, auto throttle, vertical speed 1500. We are going down to 2,400 feet. And the idea is again to wait until we are at 2,400 feet. So we're reaching now 2,400 feet. I'll start. And we are starting to monitor here FSiPanel window. A message, we should get aircraft ready. So it took us another 30 seconds. We're exactly at the same position as before. And now we just need to do exactly what we've done before. So very straightforward. Flight plan, Geneva, runway 22, approach, ILS 22, insert, boom. Now I should have my ILS, that's done. I want to fly manage speed, so I go performance, activate approach, confirm. I can go manage speed. And I will remember to update my flight plan in case of go around. So in that case, runway 22. We are going to try a go around this time to see if it works. So I'll take my runway, put it direct to, and I will not click yet, because otherwise, as you can see, the aircraft will go in nav and do all kind of funny things. So I'll just keep it like that. And I'm basically ready to take over control. So again, beacon light off. I have control, insert, nav going front, approach, second autopilot. Cat 3, dual, localizer, glide slope is armed, and we are good to go. Let's put some auto brake here on the second approach, we might have to change it. And we are going down, localizer, glide slope is alive, landing memo no blue, missed approach altitude 7,000 feet, and as you saw, it took us less than a minute, and we are on the second approach now on short funnel in Geneva. So today, not today, now what we are going to try is a go around to see if the automation works and if what we entered in the MCDU works as intended. So at 500 feet, we will go around. So in order to do that, it's toga flaps. So toga, we put toga flaps. We will go to one notch of flaps, so flaps 3. Positive rate, gear up, and then we watch the show. So let's do that. Coming to 500 feet, go around. Toga, flaps, so flaps 3. Here we go, flaps 3. Positive rate, gear up. We have nav, as you can see. Nav has been captured, so we are following the correct path. Now we are waiting for the extraction altitude by default, and we should get the message to reduce to climb. Lower climb, so let's go to climb. First climb. We are above the F-bug. Let's go flaps 1. And as you can see, the aircraft is perfectly flying the missed approach, which is back to Saint-Pré and all. Very easy, very straightforward, and you can again practice your landing. Let me show you now, if you want, vectors to final. So we are going to bring the aircraft on ground, and I will show you how you can do a vectors position with FSiPanel. All right, here we are. Simulator is ready. So I'm going to click on ready to fly, and you will see in real time what we can do. So I just loaded, as you saw, the aircraft. I just need to change my weight if I need to, so I'm just going to do that. I will reduce the fuel. I'm happy with the 0 fuel weight, that is by default, but I think that the fuel is too much, so I'm just going to reduce the fuel so that we are within the maximum landing weight. That's done. And basically now we're all set. Remember, we need to set this page. If you don't do it, then you will not be able to select the ILS. Or at least you could select the ILS in a NavRate page, I'm sure, but you cannot put any flight plan. So let's do that here quickly. Done. And now we are ready again to go in FSiPanel. So I'm going to show you now vectors to final. So let's go with FSiPanel. Okay, so we want to fly on runway 22. So we are going to do left-hand vectors. So left-hand vectors, we're going to be in a vectors profile. So that means flaps 1 on the Airbus and gear up. Okay, and we should intercept the ILS at 8 nautical miles, 3,700 feet. So I'm going to click move aircraft, and we will see what happened in the simulator. So move aircraft. We are in the simulator. Now this time the flaps are going to 1, and I get the message to make sure my flap lever is set to 1. So I'm going to do that now with my thrust master. And set your thrust to climb detent. So we are ready. So let's go ahead. Climb detent. We're expecting the aircraft to accelerate again to 130 knots in a static position. And this time you will see FSiPanel bringing the gear up and setting the S-bug speed. So let's see that happening now. We are reaching 130 knots very soon. Here we go. And we should go in the air. Gear up, as you can see. Now, automation, heading, vertical speed. Waiting for the autopilot turn gauge. That's done. And now the aircraft is going down toward the target altitude, 3,700 feet. So now what you have to do is just watch the show and wait until you are at 3,700 feet stable, which is the altitude that you can see in the window here, and then you'll be able to program the approach and do whatever you want to do with the aircraft. So you see that FSiPanel has detected the S-bug speed correctly, and we are reaching 3,700 feet. Alt cruise, that's good. And now we are getting the message that everything is ready. Let's see that happening. Here we go. Again, I'm going just to prepare my approach. So flight plan. I'm going to select the runway 22 and I want to do the ILS 22 and insert. Doing that, I can click LS and LS and I will get my localizer and glide slope. I want to fly with a managed speed, so I go to performance, approach. I don't need to set anything here. That will be very nice if you fly from a start position, and flaps full, and I'm just going to activate the approach. By doing that, I can go in manage. Now the aircraft is going to fly S-bug, perfect. And then once I take control, what I will do is simply put a direct to Golf 808, for example, just to make sure the aircraft has the go-around path ready. Okay, so we are ready to take control. So let's go ahead, turn off the beacon. You don't need to turn it back on. FSiPanel will do it. Now you have control. So I'm going to go to flight plan, direct to Golf 808, insert. Now you are in nav. You don't want to be in nav, so we go back to heading. And we can arm the approach, second autopilot, as easy as that. And now we have heading, localizer armed, and we are on the way to intercept our localizer, and we should be on the glide path at 8 nautical miles. So very straightforward, easy to do it. And this is how you can practice with FSiPanel 2020 and the FlybyWire A380. Here it comes. We will see when it turns on final. We should have localizer captured very soon. That looks good. Perfect. We are turning, localizer captured. Glide slope is armed. Beautiful job by the aircraft here. Let's put some auto brake, low. I'm not showing you here, you could use the BTV or anything you want. You can do that in position freeze before taking control to make sure you have the perfect setting. Here I'm just doing that very quickly to show you the time you can save with FSiPanel, and then it's completely up to you what you want to do and fly from where, which position, and how much things you want to set up in your cockpit before taking controls. We are coming to the glide slope. Let's see what happens if I go flaps 2. Then the aircraft will reduce and to F-bug. We're going to have the glide slope anytime soon. And very important, you can see that the waypoint that we are flying is correct. So in case of go around, again, we're going to have the full capability of the navigation. That's it. Let's go gear down, flaps 3. Set the lights, arm the speed brake. Now I go flaps full, set missed approach altitude. And off we go. We are ready for a third approach, third landing within 5 or 10 minutes. As easy as that. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any question or comment, please drop it in the section down below. Feel free. I will be very happy to answer your question or your comment. And I will see you very soon for another training video. Thank you. Stay safe and please subscribe to the channel. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.